Okay, so let's jump into this deep dive.
Right.
And today we're going to be like really getting into this whole connection between insulin resistance and dyslipidemia.
Mm-hmm.
Abnormal blood fat levels.
Right. Yeah.
And we're going to be kind of dissecting this YouTube video from Metabolism Made Easy
Okay, cool.
to really kind of get to the bottom of what causes these changes in blood fat when someone has insulin resistance.
Yeah, for sure.
And what are the kind of like key players that are involved in this whole process?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think a lot of people, are familiar with the fact that insulin resistance can impact blood sugar,
Right.
but the impact on blood lipids,
Right.
things like triglycerides and cholesterol, it can be less clear. And I think what's really interesting about the way that this YouTube video explains it is that it highlights how changes in the activity of two very specific enzymes
Okay.
really kind of illuminate this relationship.
Okay. So the source material kind of kicks it off by pointing out that dyslipidemia is just like a frequent companion to insulin resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just like a random thing.
It's not random.
There's a mechanism happening here.
There's a mechanism at play, yeah.
And it really does seem to revolve around these two lipase enzymes.
Yeah, that's right. And the breakdown that they show in the video really shows how the changes in these lipases essentially orchestrate the altered lipid profile that we observe. So we're talking about an increase in triacylglycerol, which is often called triglyceride,
Right, triglycerides.
and also an increase in free fatty acids circulating in the blood.
Okay, so let's kind of like take this like one step at a time here.
Sure.
Let's start with that first enzyme lipoprotein lipase.
Okay.
What does the video tell us happens to that when insulin resistance kind of enters the picture?
So the YouTube channel explains that the overall activity of lipoprotein lipase actually decreases. In the setting of insulin resistance and lipoprotein, lipase is really important because this is the enzyme that is involved in breaking down triglycerides in the blood,
Right.
so that those fatty acids can be used by the tissues. And interestingly, in insulin resistance, it's thought that the usual insulin signaling
Okay.
that would support lipoprotein lipase activity kind of gets disrupted
Gotcha.
and leads to this reduction.
Okay, so if it's less active, then it's not, the fats aren't getting broken down as efficiently.
Exactly.
What's the result of that?
So the source material details that this decreased activity of lipoprotein lipase leads to an accumulation of triacylglycerol in the blood plasma. So this is hence, high triglyceride levels that we see.
Gotcha. So it's just like the body's like fat clearance system is like just becoming less effective.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's becoming less effective.
Okay, so that paints a really clear picture for lipoprotein lipase.
Yeah.
Now, what about that second enzyme you mentioned, hormone-sensitive lipase?
Right. So hormone-sensitive lipase primarily operates within the fat tissue.
Okay.
And in insulin resistance, its activity actually increases.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's the opposite
Interesting.
of what we see with lipoprotein lipase. And its job is to break down stored triacylglycerol inside the fat cells and release those free fatty acids into the bloodstream. Now, what's important here is that insulin normally kind of puts the brakes on this enzyme.
Okay.
So it kind of reins it in. But in insulin resistance, that braking effect of insulin is blunted.
Gotcha.
And so other hormones can have a stronger influence, and they can really ramp up the activity of hormone-sensitive lipase.
So more free fatty acids are kind of being released from storage and kind of flooding into the blood.
That's exactly right. And the video emphasizes this increased flow of free fatty acids from the fat stores into the plasma.
Okay, so we've got less removal happening,
Yeah.
and then we've got more release happening.
Exactly. You have one enzyme that's slowing down the exit of fat from the blood, and another enzyme that's speeding up the entry of fat into the blood.
Wow. So it's like opposing forces creating kind of like the perfect storm for unhealthy lipid levels.
Yeah, I like that analogy. The perfect storm. That's a good way to put it.
So if we kind of like boil it down, what are the key insights that we're getting from this video?
Yeah, I think the key takeaways here are that lower lipoprotein lipase activity leads to higher triglycerides, and higher hormone-sensitive lipase activity leads to higher free fatty acids.
Okay, so it really seems like, understanding these two enzymes really kind of unlocks the connection between insulin resistance and these like worrying blood fat numbers that we see.
Yeah, it does. And it really raises an important question for, anyone listening, considering this interplay between the activity of these two lipases. How might your day-to-day choices affect these enzymes? Think about things like diet, exercise, even stress.
Hmm.
What could the implications be for managing insulin resistance and keeping your blood lipids in a healthy range? That's definitely food for thought.
Wow. Yeah, that is a really good point to kind of like leave everyone with there.
Yeah.